For this week's Wellbeing Wednesday, I want to talk about the concept of yawning. I've been getting a lot of questions from individuals recently asking about why do we yawn? Is it a bad thing if I yawn in the morning? Does that mean that I haven't slept well? And so while we know that there's a lot of knowledge about yawning and everyone experiences it, there's very little good research out there really understanding and proving any theories as to why we yawn. But we do know that there are a number of accepted causes for why we do yawn. One is going to be this idea of when we see rapid changes in elevation, whether it's voluntary yawning or involuntary yawning, where that changing in the jaw position, taking in that oxygen, helps to regulate the pressure. People talk about their ears popping. We also see that there's the concept of social empathy or suggestion, where when someone close to us is yawning or someone talking about it, reading about it, some of you may even be yawning right now just listening to this video. What's interesting is that many psychologists have conducted research and found that the closer you are to someone, the more emotional closeness you experience. Think of a hierarchy typically of family, then friend, then stranger, the more likely you are to yawn when they yawn. We also see that there are levels of empathy that can play a role, that an individual that is more empathic tends to yawn more often when someone else is yawning. We also will see that many times it can be associated with sleepiness and boredom, but what's actually happening is that whenever someone goes through the process of yawning, it has an impact on the chemicals and the hormones in somebody's system that actually increases alertness for a short period of time. So many times the yawning is happening to help to wake us up and help us to be more alert in situations where we are feeling sleepy and potentially bored. Now, there have been theories that it could potentially help the brain to cool, and while some folks will talk through and think through this, there isn't evidence showing that, for instance, if you're outside playing in the sun or sports and athletes when they're getting warmer, that they don't tend to just yawn more frequently. So there's still some debate on that theory. And one that was common, the idea that you are yawning to bring in more oxygen or to release carbon dioxide, has been disproven. There's research done where they actually put people in rooms with low levels of oxygen or high levels of carbon dioxide and did not see an increase in yawning. So while there's some interesting research and theories out there, we still don't have a full purpose behind why we're definitely yawning all the time. What is important to note is that yawning is something that in general is considered normal. If all of a sudden you are yawning much more frequently, that would be something we want to check out. We do know that it can be seen more frequently with sleep deprivation, insomnia, sleep apnea, narcolepsy, and other medical conditions. So if it does start occurring much more frequently, we do want to look into that. But in general, yawning is something that can be considered very normal, and it is possibly just our bodies helping us to be more alert in circumstances. Be well.